The doorbell chimes. Instead of walking to the front door, you freeze. Slowly lower yourself behind the kitchen island and wait for your heart rate to drop back under 140 BPM. You like the person on the other side of that door. You invited them. So why does the arrival of your best friend suddenly feel like a tactical home invasion? We have all been sold this relentless, exhausting lie. The great open door policy myth. Society insists that a well-adjusted adult is perpetually ready to host. You are supposed to have a spotless house, artisanal cheeses on standby, an endless social battery, and a living room that smells like sandalwood and success. But let us be real. My hosting aesthetic is mostly just shoving unhinged piles of mail into a closet 5 minutes before arrival. You feel this crushing guilt. You want to be that breezy person. But the brutal reality? The literal second someone crosses your threshold, you are forced back on. You have to manage their comfort. You have to interpret their micro-expressions. You have to perform an agonizing pantomime of normal human behavior. And you have to do it in the exact physical space where you usually peel your social mask off and throw it on the floor. If that cycle of dread and guilt sounds painfully familiar, I need you to listen to me very carefully. You are not defective. You are not a cold, unfeeling hermit, and you are certainly not a bad friend. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is just running a highly specialized, fiercely protective security protocol. Think about it. Out there in the world, your nervous system is constantly bombarded. When you finally retreat to your home, you are retreating to your sanctuary. Those messy, chaotic habits you hide from guests, the frantic baseboard scrubbing, the intense desire to just lock the deadbolt and hide. That is not you being antisocial or crazy or weirdly paranoid about your friends judging your furniture. That is brilliant, tactical survival. It is your mind acting like a feral little trash panda, fiercely guarding the only safe dumpster in a chaotic alleyway. Your nervous system is redlining, and it has correctly identified that adding another human into your strictly controlled environment is a massive threat to your remaining energy reserves. You are not pushing people away. You are just fighting tooth and nail to protect your peace. Let's pull back the curtain on what is actually happening inside your skull when that doorbell echoes through your hallway. There's a term in psychology called allostatic load. Think of it as the cumulative wear and tear of simply existing in the modern world. It is the gridlock traffic, the passive-aggressive emails, the blinding grocery store lighting, the microscopic social interactions you barely endure to survive a Tuesday. Your home is the singular place where that load drops back down to zero. There are no sensory demands, no social expectations. You can just exist as a weird, unobserved creature. But the second a guest arrives, that load spikes violently. Simultaneously, you are forced into what we call cognitive camouflaging. Therapists often refer to this as masking. It is the deeply exhausting process of consciously suppressing your natural resting state. You have to contort your personality to fit acceptable social norms. Your amygdala, your brain's primal threat detector, does not see your best friend arriving for a fun Friday night. It sees an unpredictable, chaotic variable entering a controlled zone. It sees a complex threat assessment scenario. Suddenly, your sympathetic nervous system kicks into absolute overdrive. Your brain starts burning massive, frankly absurd amounts of glucose. Why? Because it is desperately trying to regulate the physical environment, monitor your friend's shifting emotional state, and maintain the integrity of your social camouflage all at once. Basically, your brain is doing high-level calculus just so you can nod and say, "Yeah, work was crazy this week." To make this incredibly clear, think of your home as a deep-sea submarine. You are at the absolute bottom of the ocean. The lights are delightfully dim. The internal pressure is perfectly regulated. You are running strictly on emergency battery power. And finally, you are breathing easily. A guest coming over is like a cheerful diver swimming all the way down to the ocean floor. They knock enthusiastically on your metal hull, and they demand that you repressurize the entire ship. They want you to blast the blinding fluorescent lights, and they fully expect you to host a synchronized tap dance routine in the control room. It is not that you hate the diver. You probably really love the diver. It is just that your submarine simply does not have the voltage for the performance. So, how does this submarine power failure actually look in the wild? When that allostatic load hits critical mass, it usually fractures into one of 3 distinct survival responses. Let's see which flavor of panic you are. First, we have the preemptive sterilizer. This is the person who morphs into a frantic crime scene cleaner 30 minutes before arrival. You are scrubbing baseboards you have not perceived in 3 years, hiding perfectly normal stacks of mail in the oven, and aggressively fluffing pillows while sweating through your shirt. You are not cleaning for hygiene. You are sanitizing your environment to maintain the illusion that you are a functional, flawlessly regulated adult who never drops crumbs. It is not housekeeping. It is destroying the evidence of your actual personality. Next is the hostage host. You do not panic clean. Instead, you dissociate into the perfect, accommodating host. You smile, you offer beverages, you laugh at the exact right intervals. But behind your eyes, you are running a high-stakes hostage negotiation. You are hyper-analyzing every single micro-expression your guest makes, desperately searching for a polite exit window. You are calculating the exact trajectory of the conversation to steer it toward a natural conclusion, silently counting down the milliseconds until you can reclaim your territory. And finally, we have the post-invasion zombie. You actually managed to survive the visit. You might even genuinely enjoy it in the moment. But the literal second that deadbolt clicks shut behind them, you experience an intoxicating, euphoric wave of relief that borders on a spiritual awakening. And then, the crash hits. Your submarine battery completely flatlines. You peel off your daytime clothes like molting skin, collapse onto the sofa, and enter a state of nonverbal paralysis for the next 48 hours. You do not just need a nap. You need a medically induced coma to recover from the sheer psychological weight of being perceived. So here is the twist. The great psychological reframe that changes everything. Dreading guests is not a character flaw. It does not make you a cold, unfeeling villain in your own life story. It is actually a sign of elite, high-level biological boundary maintenance. When you are hiding in the kitchen, aggressively avoiding the doorbell, or practically manifesting your friend's departure by yawning at 8:30 on a Saturday, you are not rejecting the people you love. You are just being ruthlessly protective of your only functional charging port. Refusing to let people casually stroll into your sanctuary is Raccoon Logic at its absolute finest. You are not antisocial. You are fiercely defending the delicate, highly specific, slightly chaotic ecosystem that keeps you sane in a relentlessly demanding world. Your nervous system knows exactly how close to the edge you are, and it has correctly calculated that hosting a spontaneous brunch will push you directly into the abyss. We desperately need to stop apologizing for our neurobiology. The world asks you to perform, to camouflage, to output energy from the second your alarm goes off until you finally drag yourself back through your front door. Your home is the only place where the performance actually ends. Guarding that space is not a petty act of selfishness. It is the literal foundation of your psychological survival. You are allowed to exist unperceived. So, it is time to drop the guilt. The next time the doorbell rings, take a deep breath and remember, that your sanctuary is yours to govern. Now, I want to know exactly how your nervous system handles the breach. Drop down into the comments and confess. Are you the frantic preemptive sterilizer? The deeply dissociated hostage host? Or the completely paralyzed post-invasion zombie? Putting a name to the panic is the first step to finally forgiving yourself for it. We dissect a new piece of our exhausting human wiring here every single week. So if diagnosing your daily chaos feels like therapy, stick around for the next session. Until then, keep your doors locked. Protect the submarine.